You're exhausted, your feet are swollen, you're sore everywhere, you're thirsty, you're hungry, you're probably lacking nutrients, you're desperately reading books to be the perfect mom you want to be. Welcome to motherhood. So you did it. Baby's here. Congratulations. You're a mother. There's nothing better. Yes, motherhood has its joys, but there is a little secret stowaway in there, and it's called the mental load. I'm Yvette, author, speaker, and clarity coach, and in this video series, I'm helping moms declutter their minds, particularly the mental load. In this video, let's take a deep dive into the mental load of motherhood in baby's first year. We'll look at all those invisible symptoms and learn how you could take care of yourself during this time to see it through in one piece and in peace. Because I believe if you can have peace of mind through all this, then you can be present to what's happening to you and to your baby and really enjoy this fragile, fleeting time. That's my hope for you. And if you're watching this video, I bet to your core, you are an amazing mother because you're doing the research to discover what to expect in this time frame, how to show up fully as yourself as mother for this baby who needs you to show up fully as yourself. So we're talking baby's first year. So that's defined as the birth date to baby's first birthday 12 months later. So that whole 12-month span. And I'll just lay it out there. It's going to feel overwhelming. You're going to be tired, a lot of sleepless nights, maybe 2-hour increments of sleep. Baby's just waking you up. At least that's how it was for me. It is a time of recovery and bonding for you both. Baby's getting to know this world they've just entered. You're getting to know this baby who just entered your life and how you can best supply and provide for this baby. And I believe if you better understand this first year and what baby needs from you, what you need to give your body, then you can better set priorities that focus on what matters most in this time frame and kind of push everything else off for a later date, something in the future when you have more space. Because right now, the space you want to take is to recover and bond and grow and laugh and just bliss out in this time frame. And your priorities happen to be the same as babies. Eat, sleep, hydrate, move, learning, right? Discovering motor skills, that's what baby's doing. And you are slowly, intentionally moving to recover and heal and realign in your new body postpartum. There are a lot of firsts for you and baby during this time. Most likely you're photographing your baby every single month to track the milestones and just laying them there on this beautiful blanket next to their sweet little lovey and a number, 1 through 12. This is Remy's little lovey. And what also comes is the mental overload. Like never before, you've got a busy mind. Even if you didn't have a busy mind before kids, you definitely have one now. I believe that's just across the board for all moms. That's a characteristic that comes from motherhood. Because each baby is different, there's always a new level of adjustment. I had my firstborn in 2020, so the pandemic didn't help create that security blanket, but there was the perk of not having to be anywhere and do anything. I could just be at home with baby, and that was fine. Everyone else was doing it. But because he was a premature baby during the pandemic, unfortunately, it was heart-wrenching, actually. Him being whisked off to the NICU and me not being able to hold him and bond with him as much as I wanted to, just continuously without interruption. I felt as though, I still feel guilty from that, as though like I could have done something differently. 1, to have him stay cozy in my womb longer, and 2, bonded with him so that we didn't have trouble latching and I don't know, who knows? Mom guilt is also there as part of this mental overload. And so if delivery wasn't ideal, then you probably are facing some guilt with that. Know that it's normal. There is no ideal delivery. What you have is your birthing moment. And that's special and unique and only yours and your baby's. And you get to love on that and find the treasure in that and the beauty in that. The beautiful thing about him going off into the NICU was that the nurses were great. So I knew he was in good hands. But my milk slowly came in because of that. And so I felt like I was just pumping and nothing much was happening. And but the nurses reassured me everything was all good. But because we were in this kind of lockdown pandemic, only one parent at a time was allowed to visit the NICU. So I was by myself in there. My husband was by himself in there. And so we didn't get to just kind of share those moments together, those firsts with each other. So that kind of sucked. So what's a typical mental load for a mother? Let's run through the list. Anticipating everything, providing for and protecting basic survival needs, planning and organizing, scheduling appointments, managing household finances, coordinating family activities, problem solving, challenging times like why is he sick? And then trying to explain all of that to your partner so that you can go take a nap. Moms often bear the brunt of the emotional burden caring for baby, family, partner, house, themselves. And this can involve providing comfort, nurturing, checking in, managing conflict, addressing emotional needs. Moms are usually on top of remembering details, keeping track of feedings, daycare schedules, holidays, family visits, etc., etc. And this is probably why once baby's born, you actually get smarter. Your brain has to be primed and ready and equipped to care for more than just yourself. Babies are dependent until they're not. The mental load is staying available to all that is happening and could possibly happen. It's providing and protecting baby at all costs. It's nursing, it's pumping, it's thinking of your next meal, yours and when baby will feed. And if you're pumping and feeding, then you're pumping in between feedings. And so there's that scheduling. And then it's like, when am I supposed to nap? There's being creative with tummy time and sensory play and different puree blends. That is all part of the mental load too. It's endless. This period is marked by mental, emotional, physical adjustments that have to be made. You've got baby brain, forgetfulness. You can't multitask like you did before. Your brain is just not able to split its attention like that. Not that it ever could. And depending on the level of support you're receiving from partner, family, friends, and otherwise, then the intensity of this load can do a lot of damage. It can weigh a lot on the psyche, which leads to the real kicker, mom rage. It's that fury that you feel bubbling underneath your skin, clawing its way out in a scream or just like hitting your head against a wall. When it feels like no one else is willing to put the time, the effort, the blood, the sweat, the tears necessary to care for this baby like you do. I think moms, we tend to sacrifice all of ourselves for this baby in a lot of ways, especially in those first weeks. And this mismatch of priorities does lead to resentment. And so in time, we hope the resentment fades, but it's still an energy leak for the mother. Hey, it's Yvette. I just had to jump in and say, please like and subscribe if you're liking this video so far so more moms can see this content. Thanks. And then there's how society treats this first year. It's almost like there's this rush to get back to business as usual. Maternity leave is way shorter than it should be. And if you have your own business, you're likely back at it even days after the birth of baby. And God forbid you're trying to keep up with social and posting pictures of baby and competing with the pomp and circumstance of baby's wardrobe and his room and every move he makes. It's a lot. And it's a beautiful thing, but there is the wiring ingrained inside of us, in our DNA, that has us, one, feeling judged because we're possibly judging as mothers. And it's all in the protection, the pursuit of what's in the best interest for a baby. And so that's where the judgment comes, because we are judging ourselves against another family. And are we doing enough? And so it leads us to rush to get our bodies back, rush to get our house in order and tidy again. So you've got this internal split down the middle of who you are as mother. You're torn between slowing down and focusing on bonding and recovery and just being in your bliss bubble. And then you're also worried about how to execute on some of the ideas you have, get back to work, and getting back into action. So the noise of that really does dull the slowing down. It dulls the mother's intuition to do what's best for herself and for the baby. So she's second guessing everything. It's okay to seek out advice. In fact, I do it. I still to this day do it. And I definitely did it early on because I needed that support. It's good to hear from other moms who are in your shoes, who have been there before, and this is what they've done. And so if you try it, could work for you, that is healing. And it makes you feel like you're not alone. So there's the seeking out of advice, and then there's resting on your intuition, weighing it all, and then deciding to go with your gut. I mean, I watched tons of YouTube videos. I was watching everything on cloth diapers, to what to put in my hospital bag, to what to put in my registry. And all of that was very, very helpful. I definitely went down a rabbit hole or 20, and it might have added to some of the anxiety that I felt. And so there is a stopping point. There's a line in the sand that says, okay, that's enough information. Now let's go with intuition. And so the more you rely on information always outside of yourself from another person that you do know and other people you don't know, the less secure you are in yourself. And that really does add to the mental load as well. This kind of like floating out there, not really sure what you're doing, feeling around in the dark. Whereas you, by nature, have what it takes to be this baby's mother. And so where did we go wrong? Not adjusting our expectations. Anyone in the household clinging to this idea of a tidy house, home-cooked meals 3 times a day, 5 loads of laundry, getting washed and folded and put away every single week, that is not the focus. Because that would look like you cleaning while baby naps when you probably should be napping too. And then there's exercise, getting back into some type of exercise routine. All your body yearns for is slow, intentional movement until you can start to pick up a weight, take a walk, and you start to feel good in your body to kind of make those movements. But everybody is different. So listen to yours and know that if you feel like resting, that's probably the best move. What kind of goes by the wayside during this time? Probably long, deep social conversations and trying to tackle any big project while you've got some downtime. Like you trying to do too much in those times. And you know if you're trying to do too much. There's this thing called postnatal depletion, and it could linger up to 10 years after delivery if not properly cared for. Postnatal depletion can lead to postpartum depression. And so if any of this sounds like what you might have, symptoms of postnatal depletion are fatigue, hypervigilance, overwhelm, poor memory, low self-esteem, loss of libido, and anxiety. Postnatal depletion doesn't always have to become postpartum depression. Postnatal depletion, as described by Oscar Sereliich in his book, Postnatal Depletion, he talks about what it is, and if you get the micro and macronutrients back into your system that maybe you lost, those trace minerals, things won't exacerbate, like thyroid issues or diabetes. Things won't exacerbate to that level because you're taking care of what your body lost during childbirth. Postnatal depletion is caused by many factors. So hormones are out of whack, and that usually amplifies the hopeless feelings. Piling too much on your plate when really rest and sleep and mental health are the most important thing. Genetic predisposition, sufficient nutrients, past history of anxiety, difficulties during pregnancy and or delivery, relationship stress, lack of social support, worries about money. This is postnatal depletion. And postpartum depression is the severity of those things, kind of what it does to us mentally. It's how that mental load, everything we're carrying, thinking about, overthinking about, second guessing about, doubting ourselves about, is extending into this identity of ourselves, that we're not enough, we don't know what we're doing, we lost the joy of motherhood. And so that is where postpartum depression comes in. And I definitely had postpartum depression. After my 4th trimester, I was going into the month when I should have been, I was cleared by doctor. I should have been back to normal. And I wasn't. I was sobbing every day. I just didn't know how to get out of this. I didn't know how to look at my baby and not have this cloud of sadness over my eyes. It's like everything was blurry because I couldn't shake the depression until I sought out help. So please seek out medical attention and professional advice on how to get out of some of those sad days. What I find troubling is in that 6-week visit, that clearance visit that the doctor says, oh, you're good to go, back to normal, back to business as usual, back to work, back to your exercise routine, that they're not checking our hormones. They're not checking, at least mine didn't. If you've got this, bravo, please recommend your doctor to everyone and anyone. But they're not checking hormone levels. They're not checking your emotional stability, your mental health. They're not doing that due diligence before sending you out without another appointment set. And this is where it felt like floundering to me, because I'm supposed to be cleared, but I don't feel clear. There's more to ask the doctor about. Ask for guidance on your nutrition. Keep taking your prenatals up to 4 months after delivery before you move to, say, postnatal vitamins. And then ask your doctor for more tests. It's to see if you need trace mineral supplements. That would be good to add to your diet. Now let's get into the ways to lighten mental load, mitigate postnatal depletion, and hopefully ward off postpartum depression. Reduce the expectations you have on yourself. If it's not serving you in this baby's first year, then wait. Push it off. Don't let it become a distraction. Don't get derailed from this moment. What you need health-wise and what baby needs health-wise. Fully and wholly, all around. Adopt some boundaries that have you hosting less, accepting people over less, entertaining, trying to do the most when people come over, when really they just want to see you and baby. If they're hungry, they can leave and go get food for the whole house and come back and eat it with you. A lot of this mental load is kind of what we're thinking we're being perceived as. You know, we want to be the good mom, we want to be the good daughter, we want to be the good friend. All of that, in addition to maybe your nutrients are lacking. So supplement things that you might not be getting, like those trace minerals, that prenatal vitamin that while you're nursing, you still should be taking. Even if you're not nursing, I believe doctors recommend up to that 3rd or 4th month after delivery, still taking your prenatal vitamin so that you're replenishing those nutrients that you gave to baby. And that just totally went out with the placenta. One thing in particular that helped me, since I'm not near family, I needed a nanny as my husband went off to work. The beauty of hired help is I was able to say, this is mealtime. This is what I want them to eat. This is what I want them to do during the day. This is where I want your focus. And that gave me the peace of mind to fall asleep, knowing my babies were in good hands and knowing that the nanny was covering it all. In this adjustment in baby's first year, you're assessing your bandwidth. You don't have a lot of bandwidth for much, and that's by nature. Give into it. Don't fight the feeling. However, it is important to have a conversation with daddy or whoever's helping you raise this child, co-parenting with you, about how you want to raise this child. Limit anything else that distracts you from these core focus areas. Health, safety, sleep, anything else that's diluting the bandwidth for that really should be put on the back burner. So all the projects around the house, if you're putting that on your partner, then you're also diluting his attention, his focus for the topic at hand, caring for baby's first year. And as baby gets older through these months, then you'll start to see, okay, so space opens up. There's room to breathe and add in some of those projects. Dividing and conquering, that's really what you want to think about in an equal partnership. But it does require a conversation because we're each coming from a different reference point in terms of how a household is run. If you want a little bit more information on how to have that conversation, how to lighten your load a little bit more when it comes to the house and things like that, responsibilities of adulting, then comment below so that I know that you want me to make that video. Because there is a whole thing around this very important conversation that will help your household thrive. And just a side note, I am in a hetero household, so I have a husband and my reference point is that. And so I might say he and use those certain pronouns, and just know I don't mean it to be offensive. I want you to feel however your household looks, you are included in this conversation. I mean it more so to say there is absolutely a feminine in the house and there's absolutely a masculine in the house. This is where support comes in. This is where a helping hand comes in, a friend, a family member, just to hold you and say things are going to be okay. That feminine nurture nature is also what you need. Baby needs it, but so do you. You need your tribe. Whoever you ask, can you be a support system for me? And they say yes, then consider them a support system and feel free to ask for help. Ask them to bring you food or green smoothies, something veggie rich, and maybe a lot of bone broth, especially in that first 1 to 2 months after delivery. Ask them to come babysit for a couple of hours so you can get a really solid chunk of sleep. In this first year, don't put a lot of demands on yourself because that does impact the mental load, and trust your gut and be guided from within at this time. Sleep is the most important thing at this time. Wear the same thing every day. Do a meal delivery plan. Don't worry about the dishes, the laundry, the tidying around the house, the putting the toys away. Just let things kind of be. That was a lot. Okay, so we'll wrap up this video. Just note in the description below, I'm going to include the link for some of the things that I reference, including the books that I think are really, really important to read right now if you're going to read anything. And I've also included links to the rest of the series. Next, we're talking toddler phase, and a free PDF download to kind of get you moving in the direction of lightening your mental load. I'll see you next time. Peace.